Hello, welcome to the Kitchen Spy. My name is Kate, and this video is really about how to make the most out of one chicken. So during lockdown, when food was scarcer than it normally is, and also it wasn't easy to get, I decided that I would try to make the most out of every single thing that we'd got. And one of the things that I think I was most successful at doing that with was chickens. So I buy a chicken to make a roast dinner, but I just wanted to make sure that I got every last bit of meat out of the chicken and that I could use it to make lots of lovely meals for me and my family. So what I do want to say is that because this is about how to get the most out of a chicken, there's lots of shots of raw chicken and chicken carcasses after cooked and lots of bones and things. So if that's not your bag, then please don't please don't carry on. But if it is, we'll dive right in and have a look at what I did with the chicken. So the chicken I got here is actually quite a small one compared to normal. I would actually have gone bigger if I could, but this was all I could get. So this is just a normal free range chicken, and when I take a chicken, the first thing I do normally is roast it, and so that's what I'm doing here as well. I love roast chicken dinners. It's one of my favourite things and would probably be one of the meals on my last meal list. I don't know whether anyone else does that, but I do. Anyway, when I'm roasting a chicken or meat of any kind, I always make a little onion trivet in the meat tin, and what that does is it stops the meat actually sitting in any fat that's rendered. So from a calorific point of view, it's really good at keeping the meat out of the fat if you don't want to use it. And it also, if you are going to use the fat for making gravy, it also imparts a really lovely flavour to the fat and the meat juices that come out of the meat. So here's the chicken just out of the oven. So I don't put fat on top of the chicken or any meat when I put it into the oven, but I do just put a little bit of salt on top, and that helps to crisp the skin up. I don't actually like chicken skin, but my husband does. So when I cook any meat, I make sure that I check the temperature when it's cooked to see whether it's cooked all the way through and that it's safe to eat. And with roast chicken, what we're looking for is 74 degrees. So try a few places across the chicken, so in the thickest part of the breast and also in the thickest part of the thigh, most importantly. So you can see here that's 77.2 on the breast, but if you go into the thigh, it's actually not quite 74. So I'm just going to pop this back into the oven just for a few more minutes. So the vegetables that I'm serving with this roast today are going to be some roasted new potatoes, as you can see here, some roast beetroot, some steamed cauliflower, and I've just got that soaking because I like to make sure that I've got all the little bugs out if there are any. Then I'm also going to serve it with some asparagus and also some cabbage. I love cabbage. I like serving a lot of vegetables with a roast dinner because it makes it much bigger for not very many calories. So here it is all served up. So as you can see, I've got the roast chicken breast meat I've got here, and that's 100 grams of cooked meat. Then my roast new potatoes, some cauliflower, some cabbage, roasted beetroot, the asparagus, and also a gluten-free Yorkshire pudding. Now that is just a frozen Yorkshire pudding, but they're just so convenient and they actually taste really nice. So for the purists of you out there, I apologise, but it's convenient for me. So that entire plate of food with the gravy is 426 calories of loveliness. So this is what was left of the chicken after feeding myself and my husband for Sunday lunch. So I just had the breast meat, but my husband does like the thigh meat on his lunch, so I've used some of that. And I've also, as you can see, even though I've taken all of the meat off one of the legs, I've kept the bones because I'm going to use that for another recipe a bit later on in the process. So yeah, you can see there's still quite a lot of meat left on that chicken. I know we're only 2 people, but if you had a bigger bird, you could definitely feed more on that. So yeah, that's what we're left with after the meal one. So far 2 meals out of the chicken. So the next meal and the next day I'm going to make is some stuffed chicken pancakes. So I just made a really simple pancake batter. Now I am obviously always trying to reduce calories, so I just made a really simple batter with 60 grams of plain flour, just some salt, half a beaten egg and 150 mils of skimmed milk, and I use the lacto-free milk. Just mix that all in together, and what I'm trying to get out of this is 4 pancakes. So into the frying pan here I've just sprayed some spray oil, and I'm just cooking off the pancakes on both sides, and then as I do them I just put them onto a plate, and then just carry on doing it for the rest of the pancakes, and just cover them with a clean tea towel so that they just stay warm whilst we're waiting for the rest of it, and whilst we're waiting for the filling to cook. And there you can see just the first pancake going onto the plate while I carry on with the rest. So for the filling, I mean, you can do whatever you like here. I just used what we'd got in the cupboard. So I'd got a yellow pepper, some fresh tomatoes, some of the chicken that I'd pulled off. So I pulled off most of the chicken from that carcass that we saw earlier. I've got some chili flakes in there, some herbs and some garlic, and also a fried onion. So, but the filling can be anything you want it to be. And actually this recipe, such as it is, works really well with fish as well, so you can do a creamy fish sauce with this too. But that's the filling. So I'm just cooking obviously the rest of the ingredients because the chicken's already cooked, so this is really quick to do. And if, I mean, I know this is a video about a chicken, so it seems a bit bizarre to say this, but actually you could do this as a vegetarian recipe and just not put the chicken in at all, just put loads of lovely vegetables and mushrooms and whatever you wanted to in there. So this is, I like recipes that you can actually switch it up and just make it a bit different. But for now, here we are with our chicken that we're going to stuff into the pancakes. So once we've actually stuffed the pancakes, what I'm going to do is cover it with a sauce. So this is just a really simple gluten-free white sauce. So it is 200 mils of milk, and I'm using here the lacto-free milk, but you could use any milk, and obviously this is skimmed for me. I've got 1 tablespoon of corn flour, and I've also got some garlic granules, some mixed herbs, and some salt and pepper. And when I'm making white sauce, I always use white pepper, and I love the flavour of white pepper. Then what I'm going to do is mix in some cheese into that. So you'll see there I just added in some grated cheese. So altogether in this recipe we've got 75 grams of cheddar cheese, and this is 30% less fat cheese, but you can use whatever you want to. So I put about 2/3 of it into the sauce, and then the last third I will use to top the dish just before it goes into the oven. So as you can see here, I've taken each of the pancakes, I've filled them with the chicken mixture, and then I've just put them into this dish, which actually works perfectly for 4 pancakes. Then I'm topping it with the cheese sauce, and then I'm just going to sprinkle the rest of the cheese on top, and I've also just given that a sprinkle of cayenne pepper just for a little bit more taste, and it also helps with the end colour. So you just pop this into a moderate oven for about 30 minutes until it looks like this, and this is really delicious, and you can see the cheese sauce all bubbling away there, really tasty. This was actually a really lovely dish. So for this I just served this with a nice salad. Can you have a nasty salad? I don't know. Anyway, I served it with a salad, and altogether each portion came to 539 calories. So that is for the pancakes and also for the salad. So it's a relatively low calorie dish, and you can easily work that into a calorie controlled diet if that is your yen. And here you can see it all served up, and that is delicious. And because you've got the pancakes around the chicken, you've got lots of vegetables in the chicken, and obviously a nice big salad and the cheese sauce. That is a really filling and delicious meal for 539 calories, and that portion of pancakes on its own was 493. So there you go, another 2 meals out of that chicken, and something quite different. You wouldn't really think that it came from the same kind of ingredients. And then the last thing I'm going to be doing is what I call chicken bone soup, which I know doesn't sound very gorgeous, but it is. So in here I've got an onion, a large onion that's just been roughly chopped. I've got some peppercorns, just a handful of peppercorns, and I've got some bay leaves. But if you haven't got any of those, you don't have to put them in. And then this is what we are left with on the chicken carcass. Again, apologies if this is revolting for you, but this is the fact of it. This is what was left after I made the chicken pancakes. So what I'm going to do with this now is kind of break it all up and just put it into the big stock pot. So I'm using actually a really tall big stock pot, which is specifically for this purpose, but you can use any large saucepan. So yeah, I've got all the bones in there with the onions. I'm not pre-cooking the onions or anything. This is literally me just making the stock. So then I fill that up with an amount of water. I haven't measured the water, I've just put it in. I'm not adding any salt or anything at the moment, and I'm just going to put that on to boil and bubble away for as long as you can, hours and hours. I think I left this for about 3 hours, and here you can see it part of the way through. You can see it's all breaking down nicely, and it doesn't look very good at this point in time, I admit that, but this is a really delicious soup and well worth doing, and it feels to me like you're getting something for nothing, because actually you're just dealing with leftovers. And this makes quite a few portions of soup as well. So once it's cooked, what we need to do is get a fresh pan, because we're going to strain the chicken out of the stock. So this is the stock in the pan. I've just strained that through a colander, and here is all of the bones and all of the meat, and obviously the onions and the bay leaves and the peppercorns from before. And what we need to do now is just pick all of the meat off the bones. I'm not putting the skin in, obviously. A flabby chicken skin wouldn't be nice to eat, but there is a surprising amount of meat on a carcass of a chicken like this. Then once I've got all the meat in, I've also added here a couple of chopped carrots, an onion which I've chopped quite finely. I've also added 100 grams of red lentils, raw red lentils, because they'll just cook with the stock. And I've also added, just for extra flavour, a chicken stock pot as well. You probably could do without that, but I like it because it gives it a little bit more colour, but also a lot more flavour. So yeah, and we just need to leave that to cook. The lentils will cook through, all of the vegetables will cook through, and eventually you'll end up with this lovely looking soup. So again, this is part of the way through, and you can see it's started to look like proper soup now, instead of some gloopy mess made up of leftovers. So this is a real popular meal in our house now. So every time I get a chicken, I get asked the question, will we be having chicken bone soup? And the answer to that is invariably yes. So here it is, all served up. This is 300 calories per portion. I got 4 portions out of this batch of soup. 300 calories for the soup, and then with the crispy bacon that I've got on there, I just grilled the bacon. I cut the fat off, but you don't have to if you don't want to, and just sprinkled that on top with some parsley. So altogether that meal came to 461 calories. This soup is actually also really delicious if you stir some cooked rice through it right at the end, and it makes it more of a meal, and also is just a really comforting bowl of food. So altogether, out of that chicken, we got 8 meals, in point of fact, 4 meals each. This soup freezes really well, and that's what I did with the balance of the soup. So so I made pancakes this time in the middle section, but some of the other times I've done it, I've made chicken curry, and that actually makes more so you can actually freeze portions and things. But I think the point is that actually out of one chicken we've got loads of meals, and they're different as well, so it's not like you're just having the same meal over and over and over again. And I really don't like eating the same thing all the time. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video and that it's given you some ideas. And if it has, or you've got any ideas to give me, then please leave a comment down below. And it's been great to have you here. Thanks so much for watching. And if you are already a subscriber, I really appreciate your support. And if you aren't yet a subscriber, there'll be a button coming up soon, and perhaps click the button if you want to, of course, and join us for more meals of the week, more recipe videos and food hauls. It would be great to have you along. If you have liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I hope to see you again soon. So I'll be back with Meals of the Week properly this time on Wednesday next week, and I look forward to seeing you then. In the meantime, take care, stay safe. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.